Yep, looks like it is live, Matt. They can hear us now, and we are on the correct. We are on the correct stream. They just can't hear us at the
Okay.
moment. They can't see us yet.
I'm frustrated. I cannot pop out the chat.
Are you in the right chat? If I say hello, we'll see if.
No, it's live chat replay. See, this is the thing. I go to the same tab. I leave the tab on my browser, but when I go to the tab, I get last episode, and I don't know how to get to current episode.
All right, let's get this thing going. There's a few people in the live stream watching us do this thing. Brilliant. I hope you're all watching from indoors, and that's where you should remain. Oh, in fact, the Kinnicks. There's a story about some politicians who got busted by the police this morning. I just heard about it. All right, let's do this. Let's play music and then say things. That's how this normally works. We have to press record, play music, and say things. We've done it loads of times before. There's no excuse for getting it wrong. Hi everyone, and welcome to Remain Indoors, where we'll be looking at some lighter news from around the internet, having a grumble when required, and talking about the ways we're keeping ourselves entertained at home. And we'll bring you some interesting people to talk to as well, some of our friends from the podcast and radio world. Welcome to the stream, here for the next 40 minutes or so. Well, that's the plan. Usually, although I think the previous 4 shows have run for an hour, we're going for 40 minutes. I'm going to make an egg timer go around. I'm going to stick to it. Now, of course, there is some COVID-19 pandemic news floating around. Hopefully, we won't spend too long dwelling on that. But I do feel that in this time of huge, big problems, I still think we can grumble about the little problems too. And someone who's really good at having a grumble is Matt Two Rumpets. How's it going, Matt?
It's great. Would those be metric minutes or imperial minutes?
American minutes are the same as UK minutes. You're like, is that freedom minutes? Is that liberty minutes? None of your UK minutes.
Yes. Well, they're bigger, of course.
Oh, Matt, right. Nothing changes. Even though the world is going through this massive, strange revolution and lockdown, nothing changes. Every day, my boy used to kind of go to school and like go pick him up, and he'd turn up without his jumper or without his the water bottle. That's the main one. And you go back and get your thing. Go get the jumper, get the water bottle, come back, and like he rolls his eyes like, And then now he keeps losing the water bottles. And we go, well, every time you do that, that's like a $5 or whatever, especially with these new metal ones. Today, right, because we're making sure he drinks his water. He's got to drink his water, even though he's at home. Well, like today, where's your water bottle? Don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I've lost it. We haven't even gone to real school. You've lost it in the house. You've lost it at home school.
He's just trying to maintain his routine. This is expert advice for being stuck at home.
That's it. He's found his, what do they call it in Westworld? He's found his cornerstone. So his cornerstone is like leaving his water bottle at home and forgetting everything. And he's sticking to it.
Yeah, no, it is a trick. I cannot even, I don't know. We could have bought a house for the number of water bottles my daughter lost when she was younger at school.
And now, because of David Attenborough, do you know David Attenborough? Are you aware? Yeah, he's the documentary guy. Like he says, whatever he says, everyone follows. So he said, the main problem is plastic water bottles. And everyone, oh, yes, that's right. Good. So we'll never use plastic again. And now we have to buy metal water bottles, which presumably are carbon neutral. I don't know, but we go through thousands of them. They're basically disposable in our house because you drop them and then the lid deforms and then that's it. And what my kids do is when they break a lid, they swap it with one of the grown-ups bottles. And I didn't know this, so the boy dropped his, and it made a fault where the lid would open up, right? You close the lid, the water would swoosh around, it would collect in the lid, and then when you took the lid off, the water that collected would drop on top of you. Of course, I didn't realise that till I was about to go live on Saturday night.
Yes. And did you pour water all over your fancy, expensive radio equipment?
No, I poured it down my pants. So it looked exactly like I'd weed myself. And so, like, no, and I'm not lying, right? This is literally with like 40 seconds to go before I'm live on air. And that mark is not negotiable. You would be terrible on live radio, Matt, right? 40 seconds before I'm about to go on air, I've covered myself. And it looks, for all the world, like I've peed myself. So to make the point, I stood up and I went on the intercom to the producer and I was like, dude, just so you know, I'm quickly trying to explain. This was my son's lid and it's made it look like I've weed myself, but I haven't. And he went back on the intercom with like 20 seconds until I'm live on air. And he goes, Spanners, I have absolutely no faith that you are going to get through 2 hours of live radio tonight. Good luck. And that was it. And then with 10, I'm like, oh no, that's the last thing I hear. And then the radio presenter before me was from a different station, but he knew I was following him. So he played this tune and he went, that is an absolute banger. That's such a great tune. I've ended on a great note, etc. And like almost specifically to me, he goes, follow that. Like a really kind of smug, follow that. Your show is going to suck compared to my show. So I think a bit of local rivalry between the local stations there. No, I didn't know I was involved in that. Clearly I was. So he's like offering this on-air challenge to me, which I would love to have accepted, except I just had my confidence destroyed by the producer. I was covered in a pea-like wet patch all over me on my own in a dark studio, and I just went, okay, I'll try. And then I played Pulp, and that made me feel better.
Well, at least you got off to a start there.
Yeah,
I was just, it reminded me of, does your wife have like an extensive spice rack?
No, she doesn't. No. Short answer.
Mine does. We have like 9 billion spices, and we buy them all from Penzeys, which is a great company. And the only problem is, there's so many spices. Sometimes they fall off the rack and hit the counter, and the caps will break. You know, like the sprinkle caps. So apparently this had happened, and I like red pepper flakes on my pizza. And apparently she'd broken a cap on another one and had borrowed the cap for my red pepper flakes. And so I'm like, oh, pizza, yum. Open up the cap, the entire bottle on one slice of pizza. And I had to spend like 30 minutes
picking at it,
like brushing it off and trying to get it back into the bottle so I could use it for the other ones. And it's still half of them were stuck to it.
Wow. That's what we need. We need Richard Attenborough to offer a service where he makes a specific short documentary on the habits that are affecting us in our house. So if he makes one and the most important thing you should do is not swap your broken water bottle lid with your dad's and stitch him up, and also don't mess with mum's spice rack. He could make a fortune doing that because I would pay good money to do that. Hey, someone who's into his cooking, I think, is our guest today, Alex Jeansy Van Gene. Hello, Alex.
Welcome, and thank you for welcoming me on this lovely apocalypse day.
It sounded like you were welcoming me to my own podcast there. That is an error. So you had all that time, all that build-up to wait for your moment to say hello.
I wasn't expecting to come in just now, and especially with a cooking thing, so you threw me. But...
Hey, when we were doing the sound check, there was quite a lot of crying in the background, and it's disappeared.
Luckily, Lauren has duct taped my daughter's mouth shut. So I spent 2 weeks in isolation because I wasn't well.
Lurgy,
probably COVID, God knows, don't know, whatever. And ever since then, my nearly 2-year-old daughter has been incredibly clingy towards me and literally sits there, and her line at the moment is "Cuddle Daddy, Cuddle Daddy." So before when we were setting up, she was standing at the bottom of the stairs, shaking the stair gate, shouting "Cuddle Daddy." So if you do hear children screaming during this podcast, don't be alarmed. It is just my terrible, terrible children. being looked after by my wonderful, wonderful wife.
Yes. That reminds me when my daughter was that age, my wife actually had to go to LA for a 6-week contract. And it was the first time she'd ever been away from home. And I had to fly across country with my daughter because we went out to visit for the next to last week when the show opened out there. And getting her on the plane and across the country is a separate story. But when we finally landed and we're walking down the gangway to exit the airport, my daughter sees my wife off in the distance and she goes, "Mommy, mommy," throws her arms up in the air and starts running full speed towards my wife. Like if you were filming a movie, this is exactly how you would have directed it. And it was tears and oh my goodness, it was ridiculous. But it's funny how kids, like she got very used to not having mom there, but the moment she saw her, it was like just clamped on and not going to let go.
I think from your wife's point of view, she would have seen your daughter desperately running towards her and gone, "Oh my God, what has Matt been doing in our home that has made the girl so desperate to see me?" She must have thought, "Oh, you're a terrible parent." But yeah, I mean, I used to have to go away for a few weeks at a time, and it would normally go one of two ways. Either you get home and they're so happy to see you, they won't let go, like Alex is experiencing now. Or it would they'd kind of be like "Who are you? Like, why are you involved?" And I'd start like telling them off, and then they would look to mum and be like, "Is this legit? Like, what authority does he have? I can't remember."
Explains a lot with Vivi.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
It does explain a lot.
You love how my daughter Vivi gives me a load of grief. So I thought I was saving this one for you coming on, right? We went for our designated walk, and we've been doing it, going for a walk in the woods near our house, which is a very weird experience because it's people you know, but as you approach them, everyone's kind of shuffling off to the side, and then everyone's very embarrassed that they're taking it super seriously, but it does seem like everyone's taking it seriously, and you sort of kind of nod, but not too much because nodding your forehead might bring you within 2 meters, so you got to be super careful. And then there was a neighbour from a block away, and we were sat having a chat with them from about 3 meters apart. And then when another group of people came into the woods, we suddenly felt guilty, like we were committing a crime, and we all looked. Well, there's people coming. Let's disperse. No. It was a quick chat. We're on our first walk, and everyone's like suspicious of everyone. But anyway, we were on this walk, and I was winding my daughter up as I usually do. And she said to me, "Daddy, nothing's changed in the apocalypse. You were annoying before the apocalypse, and you're annoying during the apocalypse." I was like, "Oh, it's absolutely brutal."
That kid can't stand you. It's hilarious.
Well, I think she is really torn because she thinks I am horrible and mean, but also thinks I'm kind of funny. So we've developed this word in our house called crafting.
Hang on. She thinks you're horrible and mean, but kind of funny. That's how all of us think of you.
Oh,
just so you know that, right?
Okay, I guess that's kind of my brand. Whoops. Okay, fine. But we have, we've developed the word crafting because sometimes little V, she gets upset with me, and like a good dad, when I'm sure you do this, Alex, because you seem like a very good dad. If the kid's upset, you like hug her and say, "Oh, there, it's gonna be okay. Little cherry blossom, my little pork pie, my little cutie, it's going to be fine. The world is yours, don't worry. Because you're so lovely and clever, you can do anything." But I tend not to do that. I tend to go down the route of like, if she's upset about her knee, I'll be like, "Oh no, I've hurt my little tiny knee because I'm little and tiny." And I do like an impression of her, which I find hilarious, and so does she. But it actually makes her more angry. So she does this thing where she is laughing out loud, but also crying more at the same time. And I'm sure I'm causing her deep psychological damage. But as soon as she does that, the whole family goes, "Crafting!" Like it's like bingo, like Norm.
No, whenever Phoebe falls over and hurts herself, I very much take no matter how injured they are, take light of it to stop the crying and make them laugh. So I have the big imaginary knife that I pull out of my pocket, and I'm like, "Whoa. That's got to go. Shall I get the knife?" She goes, No, I'm fine.
Actually, look, we went quite extreme on that, especially when they're toddlers and they're always falling down. We felt that we saw some of our nephews who were a bit older. We got a good look at our sister-in-law and let her make a lot of the mistakes for us, and her younger siblings with their kids, they can avoid some of the mistakes we've made as well. But we noticed some of the older nephews, they would get hurt and they would roll around on the floor and get a big fuss made out of them. And then over time, they learn that it's a way to get love and attention. And do you really want to raise the kind of kids that they learn that the way to get affection is to feign pain? It's not incredibly healthy. So we would always say when they hurt themselves, we would say, no, it's not about pity, it's about problem solving. So we did body check. And we did this fun thing with the kids, body check. So when they fall over, we'd go, okay, body check, stand up, check that arm, check this leg, have a shake, wiggle your bum. Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay, let's go.
Yeah, when my kid was younger, we spent a whole summer where there was absolutely no skin on her knee at all because she kept on falling down and just like ripping it off. It was horrible. When she was young, she would just cry whenever she, like hurt herself. But as she got older, and kids will look at you. They will look at your facial expression to know whether or not they should cry about things a lot of time. So I always got in the habit of whenever she took a tumble, instead of being like, oh, are you okay? I would be like, oh, you're fine. And so she developed this little verbal tick. That's all right. I'm okay. and then sometimes it would turn into tears anyway if it really hurt. But a lot of times that would just be the end of it. And one day I was in the house and I hear this crash, which was not unusual because she was like that age, like 4 or 5. And I hear, that's all right. I'm okay. I'm not okay. I go running in, and she had started pulling drawers out of her dresser from the top down, and the whole thing had toppled, and she's standing there like Atlas trying to hold up the world. And I was like, okay, it's time to attach this thing to the wall because there's just too much in it.
I actually tweeted the other day that bravery is when you're a parent and you're in another room and you hear a crash and not to go running straight in and you wait to hear the reaction. So obviously I have that with 2 young kids. I have that a lot where I just hear a crash and I just stop and I freeze. And I'm like, no one's crying? I can continue with what I'm doing. Nothing broke. Everything's fine. And it's that whole case of just being able to wait and not completely react. Because I remember my brother, whenever his kids used to fall over when they were young, he was bang straight there. And I'm like, they're reacting to it. You've got to kind of step back. But it's difficult as a parent because they're your pride and joy. But it changes with number 2.
Oh my gosh, does it ever? Let's just get your volume up a little tiny bit there, Alex. Make sure everyone can hear you because we're going to focus in on you and find out more about our friend Alex Van Gene in just a moment. But our extreme version of ignoring stuff is kind of in the group setting. So when you've invited friends and their families around, like generally the reason we invite our closest local friends around with their kids is so that we can almost have a pub night. So our plan is to sit and get merrily melted, and that is the absolute stated goal of that. And then we send the children upstairs. Now the children get to have a bit of a Lord of the Flies moment upstairs. It's like, go. If you don't bother us, we don't bother you. Crack on. There's no bedtime. There's toys up there. There's some screens up there, and you can ask us for food and water. So they know the deal, and they love it. They absolutely love it. And when everyone goes, they drunkenly collect their kids and stagger home or bicycle, as long as no police is listening. No driving. In fact, what we did have was, those buggies that get towed on the back of bicycles where you put kids in? We had one where you could take it off the bike and put a front tricycle wheel on the front. And that became the way to drunkenly cart home children in our neighborhood on our estate. You're doubting me.
So what, it turns it into a buggy?
Yes, it turns it into a
that's really clever.
But you can fit 3 kids in there if you want, and a couple of them lying down if you want. It's quite useful. If one of them passes out, you just drunkenly shovel them into a trolley.
At what age were the kids during this bit?
Oh, well,
because I think I've still got the best stuff to come because
you have.
I'm in the horrible phase.
Yeah, so basically, when the kids were kind of your kids' age, maybe a bit older, because your little one's like 1.5. isn't she? She's 2. Yeah, so maybe just a bit older than that, where you can leave them upstairs to, and they go and poop by themselves. That's the threshold, when they can go and poop by themselves. And then in the morning, of course, you wake up and all of the upstairs is like Kid-mageddon. Every single toy is out. But that is the price we have to pay just to sit and have a damn drink with our friends. But in that environment, there's loads of chaos going upstairs. And we'll all be sitting there merrily drinking or playing a game. And then you hear crash, boom, 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 gung, 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 gung. And everyone stops and there's silence. And we're all thinking the same thing. If no one's hurt, we can keep drinking. If no one's hurt, we can keep drinking, no crying. Okay, good. Anyway, so tell us about your job, Daz.
Well, I think that could have to be the new motto for our show. If nobody's hurt, keep drinking.
Oh, man, that's the show title, isn't it? If nobody's hurt, keep drinking. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Where are we going next, Matt? Where are we going? Normally, our plan was to catch up, and that should take about 5 minutes. Every time, it's taken about 25 minutes. So 20 minutes seems about right to zone in and speak to our friend Alex. Alex Jeansy Van Gene, you do podcasting with us as a kind of race analyst, because you do our Formula One podcast. You're not so much into all the politics and the techie stuff, but when it does come to wheel-to-wheel driver fighty action, that's where you get involved.
Because that's what I've been doing for the last 12 years, doing driving fighty action in my go-karts. So, yeah, it's I love doing it. I love analysing and cracking down on a race and seeing how things go. It's something I really enjoy.
Now, you have a bit of a reputation amongst your friends and co-competitors, and me, having seen you on Sims, as being a very aggressive driver. Do you feel that is fair or unfounded?
Yeah, I am aggressive. I always have been. It's because for me, karting has always been my release. I spend my life on the road, driving around at the speed limit. I'm not even joking. On my car, I've got an active cruise. I set it to active cruise and just tick along at 65 miles an hour on the motorway all day long. So for me to have a release to let all that pent up aggression out in karting comes into someone who's quite an aggressive racer. I've had a few knocks and incidents, but you get that anyway.
I
but
think
at least people know when I'm coming.
You never go. I don't think you ever have an event at all without one of these incidents, though. Do you? Do you ever have a clean
Often.
outing?
Very often. If you ignore my last race and you ignore the complete and utter video footage from Robin Kassam, where I completely barged him out the way, I'm relatively clean.
Well, there you go, Matt.
It's a very tight. It was a little track called Sutton. Brilliant track. I love it.
There you go, Matt. As long as you discard the video evidence, he's a very clean racer.
Hey, if it wasn't for my aggressive driving, you wouldn't have an absolutely awesome preview video for karting.
True. You punted.
And the brilliant thing is in that video, you can't actually really see how aggressive I actually was. It just shows Kyle punting me off.
Okay, what Alex is referring to, Matt, is the highlights package for the karting event that we do from Missed Apex podcast. If you search for Missed Apex karting, you'll find that and you'll see what we get up to. Some very, very dodgy moves, Matt.
Exceedingly dodgy moves. I was looking forward to, am looking forward to, and possibly looking forward to, depending on conditions, racing again soon with you guys.
No, not for the time being. Remain indoors. I'm pretty sure it's going to get cancelled. The final word on our April event is coming.
Yeah, no, to be fair, if the 25th gets moved, I'm quite happy with that because I wouldn't be able to come to the 25th. If it's moved to later in the year, once the apocalypse is lifted, I might be able to come. So I'll be well looking forward to it.
Fine, I'll bring my rib protector. But Alex, you were talking about your day job. Which is as a salesman, driving around. And to be a salesman, you do need to be a certain type of person, don't you? You need to be the type of person you are. Charming, square-jawed, charismatic, a dogged liar, and... Oh, are you telling me you tell the truth to the people you're selling boilers to?
First of all, shout out to my furloughed new build sales team, who some of them are currently listening. So hello to you guys. No, I've always said that I'm not... Salesmen get bad reputations because a lot of them, not the good ones, do lie. I don't lie because I'm a bad liar. So there's no point me lying. And I'm just completely and utterly honest. So I'm on that side of, if you trust me and you believe what I'm telling you, because I'm telling you the truth, then you genuinely buy from me.
Shall we invite him to our next poker game then, Spanners?
Yep. Yeah. Oh gosh, do you know what? I've missed poker. I have missed Texas Hold'em.
See, I used to play poker quite a lot with my mates, and I was the worst player for two reasons. One, I get bored really easily. So I commit to the first game, and I usually do really well in the first game, and then I get bored in the second game, get to the third hand, I'm like, all in on a 2 and a 4, and then I'm usually out. So it's more the fact that I'm just really, really lazy.
I like that you were scrabbling for the worst possible combination of cards that you could have, and you failed. That's how not good you are at Texas Hold'em poker. 2 and a 7 offsuit would, of course, be the worst hand you could get. And the fact that you've not picked that up, I would suggest that you are definitely on the invite list to our next poker game. Hey, Alex, come over. Come play. I love poker. We used to have poker nights all the time when I was living in Colchester, and I never got bored of it. I love the format of the game. I love the gambling aspect of it. We obviously would play for like a $5 limit with chips.
It's because you like to psychologically destroy people. That's why you like poker. I'm too nice for poker. That's my problem.
What I find is if other people are suffering and feeling bad, that increases my enjoyment of the game. And in poker, there is a direct correlation between how well I'm doing and how badly other people must necessarily do.
I'm also not much of a strategist. And there is a strategy to poker, and I haven't quite figured it out. It's why I'm not very good at chess. I know how to play chess, but I'm not very good.
Yeah,
because I don't get the strategy.
As Sam Watley said, well, that's two different things. Sam Watley said you don't play the cards, you play the Muppets around you, and that's true. What I was going to say is you don't play the one hand, you have to play it over the course of hands and get people thinking that you're either being aggressive or not, and then switch it around on them.
However, though, it is the opposite for me when it comes to karting. I do have to monitor what's going on in front of me and pick the right times. You know, sometimes when you're in a race with very good people, you can't just dive at people however much you think I do.
Well, Alex is clearing his throat. I was imagining a flow diagram of Alex's decision tree as to whether to overtake or not. It's like, should I overtake? And then the question is, does the day end in a Y? Arrow, yes, overtake. And then, are you sure the gap looks small? Also, yes. And that's your flow diagram.
No, listen, the problem is you see me karting a lot with very mixed ability. So your view of my karting is slightly different because in those situations at Buckmore Park, when you put me 30 positions back, I have to get to the front.
It was a random grid.
So you have to be a little bit more
It was
aggressive.
a random
when
grid.
I'm in the races that I do, when there's lots of very good people together, you do have to pick your point. And it's a case of, okay, I know where this guy defends here. I know how this guy takes his line here. Okay, so I can get in here. And you've got to make it work because you've got to get yourself in the right position. So there is strategy.
Matt?
Oh, I was just thinking of that wonderful thing I saw on the internet. It was like a daily chore spinner. And it was like, do schoolwork, do this, do that. And at the very bottom was a very narrow wedge that said beer. But then the spinner was a key on a nail. So it always pointed at beer. And I'm thinking, this is just your decision tree.
Right. Don't, because alcohol is becoming a factor in this house now. Not only, right. So obviously we're all sat indoors going, do you know what would make this apocalypse day go better? Alcohol. But it's only 12. Alex, I know you don't drink. You're a weirdo. Okay. Alex is one of these psychos. He doesn't make the sad go away with alcohol. He just experiences his own thoughts in his mind, I guess, until he falls asleep.
I had the opportunity last night to have a rum and coke, and I just had a coke. I couldn't be bothered. Didn't need
Something
one.
wrong with you.
Cannot relate.
However, last Monday night, I did drink 3/4 of a bottle of wine and then race online. And it didn't go well at all. So wine and online racing doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I was going to say what you really need, Spanners, is to come to New Orleans, where they have a tradition of a thing called an eye opener, which is the drink you have with breakfast.
Yeah, I could get on board with that. Because like at Christmas, my wife always brings out like some kind of champagne-y drink or something with orange. Someone will tell me in the chat what it's called. But she brings it out with breakfast, and you have it, and then think she's okay because she can have a sip of a drink and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine. But for me, that's me just started at like 9 a.m.
It's a mimosa.
Is that wake up drink the same thing from Back to the Future where they wake Doc up when he's in the Wild West? What do they call it? Wake up juice. Is it that thing?
Might be. The problem we've got, I think, is that our cereal is in the same cupboard as our spirits. I don't know how that happened, but most of it's been like that for 4 or 5 years. But it's not.
Talk about inappropriate.
Yeah, I know, but it's not been an issue because spirits tend to kind of stay there. It's a very stable cupboard. Not so much the wine rack.
Do your kids make their own breakfast?
Yes, they do.
So your kids are in that spirit cupboard every single morning.
Every single morning, my kids raid the liquor cabinet. Yes, true. No, when you put it like that, damn, I'd not thought of it like that.
One day you come down and you find out that your kids are using Baileys to pour on their cereal.
So I'm now going to derail this entire broadcast with a story from a friend of mine's granddad in Nebraska who was taken ill in a storm. The doctor came over and prescribed a medicine for him. They gave him the drops, went to sleep, woke up the next morning. The baby was totally unresponsive. And they panicked, went 2 miles, got the doctor. Doctor came back, checked the kid out, and he's like, oh, he's just out like a light. And he's like, where did you put the medicine? He said, oh, we put it in the cupboard over there. They go over to the cupboard, and it is empty. And it was like, 40% alcohol. The kid had climbed out of the crib, across the room, opened the door, drunk the entire thing, back to the crib, and passed out cold. True story.
Oh, yes. Yeah. My wife's got a similar horror story where she was left to roam an adult party and they figured out that she had just been minesweeping people's glasses and just chugging stuff down as a 2-year-old. And you go, oh, that's rough. Yeah. So I've just come to that horrifying realization that, every morning my kids reach over and they have to reach over the liquor to go and get their, Cheetos or Rice Krispies or whatever. But yeah, I have to admit, when I've made their breakfast for them, you look at it and you go, oh, no, not yet. But if it's a longer apocalypse than absolutely necessary, then that might become an issue. Not because I necessarily object to a 9 a.m. drink. It's more that in the shops, there's a 3 alcohol limit. So you can get 3 bottles of wine, 3 little cases of beer, or 3 bottles of spirit. And you're like, oh my God. What are you laughing about now, Matt? It's that chat room again, isn't it?
Yeah, we're having a great discussion. We were talking about our favorite whiskeys, and now we're talking about this. And our friend Ollie in the chat room goes, I was found at 2 years old under a box of wine because I wanted a drink in the middle of the night.
2 years old. That's brilliant. Hello to our live stream, by the way. You can come and chat with us live. Search for Remain Indoors on YouTube. And our website guy has kindly put up a page with links on it on our missedapex.com site. So missedapexpodcast.com/Remain Indoors. And you should get a link to our stuff. But you can join the chat room like Lucas, Ollie, Carby, Martin, Murphlphil999, Mark. Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us. We love getting your comments. Enough about how we're damaging our children. Perhaps, Matt. Perhaps we should stop going down that route over and over and over again. They're going to get taken away.
Yeah, I certainly hope social services isn't listening to this particular broadcast.
Jeansy's just put in the notes. Jeansy want a cuddle LA story. That sounds illicit. Is that not what you've put? It says
we already did that.
Oh, we already did that. That's Isla wanting a cuddle.
Oh, but you've misspelt it, so you've said LA.
I didn't write anything. So I didn't put that in.
that was me to tell the LA story about the kid running to the...
Oh, I see. There's no punctuation. It just says, Jeansy, want a cuddle, LA story? And I'm like, this is going to be like a hooker story or something where he paid her, but he just wanted a cuddle.
A look behind the scenes. If it ever says Jeansy in the notes, it's never me. I always do. I always sign off with AV.
Okay, fair enough. Good. Matt, some news. Some big dirty news? What do you reckon?
We could do that.
I'll play the bumper then. Dirty news. I'll kick us off if you want. My one. Now, it's slightly old news. We all know about the lady who was on a VC very early on in the pandemic and accidentally propped her phone up and everyone could see her using the bathroom during a meeting. So have you not heard that one, Alex? That's been everywhere. Yeah, it was like a conference call on a Zoom
I'll be
meeting.
brutally honest. To keep positive, I have avoided a lot of news because, I mean, my wife gets quite bad anxiety as well, and it feeds off on me. And so much of the news is bad at the moment, so I've avoided a lot of it. So I like hearing these stories that you guys put on here.
We like hearing about the pain and misery of others who have. So this woman, I can't remember her name, but it went everywhere, and of course it is mortifying if it's real. It could easily have been set up, but I bet things like that are happening up and down the country as people are suddenly starting to do video conferencing. But we got a tweet reply to some random thing I said earlier on Twitter a couple of days ago from Mike Parker at Rebel Magpie, who said that my work has just sent out a new policy on workplace appearance. Everything we wear must be ironed, whatever it is you're wearing, even when you're working from home.
Who does he think he is? Claire Williams?
Oh, yeah, the F1 team principal. You have to forget about that. Not everyone here is an F1 listener. But yeah, the F1 team principal who, even though her team was 10th and last in the championship, was spending her time during qualifying berating a colleague for not having ironed trousers on. Oh, no, it was for shorts instead of trousers.
I've been really enjoying the winter because I can go to my meetings in a shirt that I haven't ironed with a jumper over the top of it. So that I haven't got to iron my shirt. If I have to, I iron my collars just so they look a bit sharp. But if I've got my jumper on, I don't need to iron my shirt. So I'm going to be disappointed that once the apocalypse is over, it's going to be summer and I'm going to start ironing shirts again because it is the most horrible thing, time-consuming thing in the world.
Well, I hate it. I really hate it. I was working in an office for 4 or 5 years before I embarked on this childish and ill-thought-out attempt to be a media person. Yeah, I had to iron my shirt every morning, and I don't know about anyone else. It takes me like 10 minutes. It takes me forever. You have to sit and do it. What you should do, and what I started off doing, was on Sunday, I shall watch a film and I will dedicate an hour and a half to ironing all my kit for the week. And I think I did it like 2 times. I was like, no, this is crushing. This is mortifying. It's ruining the TV program I'm watching. It's a terrible task, and I hate it. And we have to do all the kids' uniforms and everything, and that's enough. So I ended up just doing it every morning, and then what I would just find is it would just suck so much of the time away. And so many times, you turn the iron on, you wait for it to heat up, iron your shirt, put it on, and realize that inexplicably it's still wrinkly. And you go, Alex, are you relating to that? Yeah, you put it on, you just go, oh, I've just got to iron it again now, and that's just another 10 minutes.
Because I find the nicer the shirt you buy, the harder it is to iron. And I've got this really nice blue shirt that I really like to wear, but the arms just get so creased. You can't do anything with them. And then you lie on the front of it, you stand up, you put your jacket on, and you stand in front of the mirror and you're like, how is it creased already? So it doesn't make any sense. I ironed you and got steam iron. No, I hate it.
So two things from this with a colleague. We went away to stay in a hotel, and I was complaining about ironing in a hotel with like a tiny little iron, and it was rubbish. And he said to me, he was really smug. He just went, I brought the non-iron shirt from Marks and Spencer's. And he was like, and I looked at him and I went, mate, it's crinkly from your suitcase. It's crinkly. And he looked down and he went, oh, yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, it is crinkly. I thought it's meant to be a non-iron one. So they're useless as well. And then, go on.
Non-iron is the biggest con.
Yeah.
There is no way a shirt that has been in the bottom of a laundry basket, gone in the wash, been tumble dried or hung up, is then ready to wear completely freshly ironed. It is a con.
Hang them up in the shower while you take a shower.
Doesn't work. Have you ever has anyone ever successfully straightened out the crinkles in a shirt by putting it in a shower? Okay, here was my attempt. Go on, Alex.
When I've been away in hotels for work, I've left the shower on for ages in the hotel because it's not my hot water. I don't care. I leave the shower on for ages.
It's still your planet,
Still
Alex.
doesn't work.
Hmm.
Yeah, this was before we all cared about the planet.
Yeah, it's before
That's my excuse anyway.
you saw documentaries, right? I went to Italy because we had our sister firm was over in Rome, and got there, pulled my shirt out the bag, which had just come out of the laundry, went to iron it. I was there's no iron in the room. Went down to reception. They said, no, it is illegal to supply you with an iron in Italian hotels. There is a law in Italy. Like, Italy's got some really weird laws. Yeah, you cannot supply irons in hotels. You also cannot buy them from electrical stores, Matt. So I was going around from store to store, and no, you can only get them from specific kind of stores. So like somewhere where like a hardware store, you might find an iron or something. You can't in Italy. It's really, really weird. It must be litigious. They must have had some kind of hotel fire or something, said it was caused by an iron, and then that's now why they're covering themselves.
Yeah, it's making me think of New Jersey, where you're not allowed to pump your own gas. It's like that kind of a rule.
You're not allowed to operate the fuel nozzle in New Jersey. Serious?
Serious.
So is there like a trained guy, and that's his job?
It's a guy.
So he goes, what? What has to do it? Can you stay in your car then?
Yeah, no, you stay in your car, and he comes up, and you give him the card or the cash, and then you open the thing, and he pumps the gas, and then when he's done, he comes back and gives you your change, and you sign for the thing, and off you go. But yeah, of all the states I've ever been in, New Jersey will not let you pump your own gas.
Does he expect a tip?
Not anymore, because I don't think anybody does.
Oh, good. So you haven't got to tip them 20% like you lot do have for a drink at a bar.
No, because you don't have a choice about it. So you sort of have to, like in the old days, you would choose self-service or premium, and then if you went to premium, you would probably give the guy your leftover change or whatever.
So,
but yeah.
Lucas Myers says, and if you can confirm this, New Jersey is a cursed land. He says.
I hate to say it's true. That's it.
I think that's I think it's confirmation. I think that's confirmation. Thank you, Lucas. Yeah, interesting. That's not the job I'd want, to just all day long sit and put petrol in people's car. But although I think that was a trade, there is a trade in the British Army called pet op, and it sounds quite posh. But you're a petroleum operator, and your job is fueling the trucks as they come through.
I'm just imagining the guy. Wait, but where are the pets? I thought we were working with animals here.
Yeah, do you know? I could imagine that conversation because I was
sorry.
I was posted with them.
I told you the truth about this.
I was posted with them, and I could fully believe that they would make that kind of mistake. Yes.
I didn't train as a vet to come and do this. I can imagine them saying.
Yeah. Good. That would have been funnier if we hadn't have had to wait a minute for you to unmute, which the audio listeners will be unaware of, but they will see on YouTube because we don't have Uncle Steve editing this for us. It all just goes out raw. Here's a news story that should make you laugh. It is coronavirus related. Have you heard of a boo? Is Alex saying boo? Obviously, we're under social distancing and lockdown rules. You're only allowed to leave your house once a day for exercise or to collect groceries. Groceries. I'm translating for Matt in real time. Yeah, groceries, Matt. It's called shopping, right? So and also to do like key worker jobs and stuff like that. So loads of people have been getting pinged by the police. Someone went and got an eBay purchase for some like printer equipment for 15 quid. Drove all the way to that person's house to go and get it. Was stopped by the police. That is not deemed essential.
Somebody came to my house yesterday from Reading to pick up a buggy for their newborn baby.
And that only makes sense if everyone knows where you live.
Oh, sorry, about 40 miles away.
Okay, because if you were in Wokingham, that would seem like a very reasonable distance to drive, and people would, that's not much of a story at all. But now 40 miles, that makes a difference. Good. But everyone is falling foul of this. The police recently broke up a house party of like 60 kids, like having a house party. Just go, cheers, guys. We're all giving up our life for like 6 months, and you're having a house party. Good luck to you. And I think you'll find, with the amount of like hamster like crawling all over each other that is bound to be happening at those kind of parties, they're probably putting themselves at quite high risk. A lot of idiots out there. But Matt, go on.
Yeah, well, I was going to say we have a similar problem here with Florida, which is notable for causing problems lots of different ways. In that they are still having, and just over the weekend, they had a beach that was open, people congregating together. It's remarkable to me how how people can be so selfish in these times.
But everyone can fall foul of it, even when they're trying to stick to the rules. So in the year 19 diggity, there was an opposition a leader of the Labour Party called Neil Kinnock. I got confused. His son is now an MP called Stephen Kinnock. And they fell afoul of it because Stephen Kinnock has went to his dad's house, set up a chair on the lawn 2 meters away, and then boasted about how they were having a socially distant birthday gathering. But of course, you can't even do that because that's not a necessary journey to go out and do it. So it's just quite funny that people are putting stuff on social media and going, "Oh, look at this, we're really complying," and then the police are getting involved and saying, "No, sir, you've got it completely wrong."
Well, yeah, it's my birthday on Saturday, so it's going to be a pretty sucky birthday for me. So just me and the kids and the wife, and I've spent enough time with them lately.
They're starting to write summonses here for people who are too close together, and they're talking about closing down the parks for this exact reason. And the reason they know people are congregating together is that they're tracking their cell phones, like anonymized data, but they're tracking their cell phones in the park, and they can see big clusters. In fact, I saw one being broken up by a bunch of police and some park police, and they were not happy campers being told to leave. But I did find this funny story on Twitter. Where they also are using phone tracking to ensure that people are complying with the rules. And this person's phone battery died, like it ran out of battery. And 4 different police units showed up within 45 minutes to knock on the door and ensure that they were not actually out when they weren't supposed to be out. And have you ever had like the authorities come to your door? Like I've had the police come to my door unexpectedly, and that's not a fun thing. Knock, knock, knock. Yeah, not a fun thing. But the worst thing that ever happened to me was in the long ago, we lived up high, and you could see the whole city.
Yeah.
And one day we were sitting there, and there's this huge plume of black smoke that was very clearly a massive structure fire. And so you're always supposed to call in and report it, even though I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm pretty sure someone has called this in, but what do we do? Okay, we call 911, blah, blah, blah. 20 minutes later, here comes the entire fire department to my apartment.
To your house.
And they're like, I'm like, oh, yeah, no. I'm like, no, guys, I said it was very clear on the phone. Like I could see it on the other side of the city. And they're like, oh yeah. Next day, turns out it was a warehouse in New Jersey had caught fire. And that's what I had seen. It was horrible.
Well, thank you for being a good citizen. And that reminds me that not many people know that in the UK, obviously the emergency services number is 999. You can also dial 911 from your mobile phone, and it gets through to the emergency services as well. And they had to do it because with the spreading of US TV, 911 is in everyone's head. So they just had to change it to make it so that if you dial 911, it goes through to the emergency services. Now, I was sat on a first aid course telling people this interesting fact, so they'd be like, oh, Richard, how interesting. We should be your friend. Please be my friend. I was thinking in my head. So I told them this fact, and this guy just went, rubbish. You're talking rubbish. And to prove it, he went on speakerphone and went 911. Hello, emergency services. What service do you require? And he went, I just wanted to see if dialing 911 worked. And this woman just went, yes, it does. And then, he was like so red-faced and embarrassed. So it does work. Believe me. Don't try it.
I would have just gone with I was trying to dial 917 and I missed. Sorry.
What's 917? That's a worse line.
It's an area code here.
That's a worse line.
Is it? That's the start of my number.
Oh,
for the phone.
I see.
Yeah. I was trying to dial a different exchange. I guess what do you call them? Exchanges over there?
Area codes. That's what we
Oh,
call
that's
them.
what we call them here too. That's
Okay.
no fun.
No fun at all. Why don't we end on some positivity? In fact, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, no, I did have police come to my door once. It was just because my little brother, he learned very quickly that not only does dialing 999 get through to someone who speaks to them, that then there's a big fuss about it because someone turns up at the door. And we did have a thing where he had done it several times. And this is quite common, apparently, that some kids get hooked on doing it. They can cut off your phone or start pressing action against you if your kid is dialing the emergency services too often. And that is the situation we found ourselves in with my little brother. But they would turn up on the phone and they'd say, yes, we are aware that this has happened previously. They turn up at the door, sorry. However, we still have to come in and have a chat with you, explain what you've done wrong, and check that there's no real thing going on and happening. So that was very odd. Let's end on some positivity, Matt. You found a person who's gathering good examples of people being nice on the world. I was going to say on the internet, but it's people being nice in the world.
Yeah, he's a former Obama healthcare director, and he mostly tweets about things that are happening. But he dedicates one day a week to finding all the good things in the world or positive things. And he puts them in a big long thread. And so I've been enjoying following him. His name's Andy Slavitt or Slavit. I'm not sure. I'm guessing Slavitt on Twitter. But anyway, he put up this story that actually has a little personal resonance for me in that in New York, the Sikh Center, New York has a massive Sikh community in Brooklyn, has prepared and packed over 30,000 home-cooked meals for Americans who are now in self-isolation. And the New York Mayor's office is having them make food packages, and they're being distributed through federal agencies to people who are in need. I did a parade in that community about 2 years ago. And I just got to say, there is not a greater bunch of people in the world than the Sikhs. They were so nice to us, so warm and welcoming. They would literally run up as we were marching through their whole neighborhood for this big festival, and they would just bring you food while you were playing. Like, here, take my food. And then the other person would be like, no, here, take my food. Oh, we got to go in the temple where they were making food for everyone, a huge celebration. So it's a happy story and a good thing.
And obviously, it helps breeding positivity about a community that often suffers prejudice or has people look at them in a weird way or in a suspicious way, often, in fact. Just reminded me of the Simpsons episode where Homer Simpson makes a best friend, then suddenly finds out he's gay and then starts feeling all funny about him. But then the gay man saves Homer Simpson's life and he's like, oh, do you know what? You're okay. And so the guy's like, oh, well, all I have to do is save the life of every homophobic person, and then we can all finally start getting along. So all the Sikhs have got to do is feed everyone food all the time, and then they might stop facing discrimination. That's the lesson we've learned. Any other good news stories? I will say, by the way, this is semi-serious, semi-political. There's a real growing upswell of anti-Chinese sentiment going around. Loads of Facebook posts. In fact, let's find it. I don't want to shame a close family member, should we say that I'm not blood related to, that I'm only related to through marriage, and is of the age demographic that you would think would share this kind of thing, shared this thing about how it's all a Chinese conspiracy and how the Chinese have had an antidote all along. They've spread it into their community, given themselves and their politicians and the cities the antidote, and then allowed it to cripple the rest of the world's economy while they now open up. And it's been going around everywhere. It's not helped by your president, let's be fair, with calling it the Chinese virus. But the serious upshot of that is, look, I know these things are going to spread. There are right-wing groups who fester on hate. There are right-wing Facebook groups who survive only by getting you riled up and whoa, the education is bad. Look what they're doing to our kids. These kind of things. They build the group up and up and up, and then they use it to say, oh, and by the way, vote for this person. So we know that those groups rely on this kind of scare, panic tactics, and it's being spread everywhere. The upshot is it's suddenly going to get a lot harder for anyone that looks a bit Southeast Asian to just wander around, and that is a real significant, upshot of what's happening is like there was a Guardian article or Independent article called "Sneezing Well Asian," and about the fact that if you look Southeast Asian and then you sneeze or cough, suddenly everyone's looking at you, you know, in a terrible way.
You know, you're going to laugh at this. When we came back from Italy, we had a layover in Charles de Gaulle Airport, and there was someone of that political persuasion, I'm assuming, sitting opposite us with her husband. And there was a fair contingent of, I would say, Chinese, Asian people on the plane. And I'm sort of, you know, I'm on Twitter, I'm not paying attention. And I have here, I can't believe we have to be on the plane with these people. And I was like looking around, like, which are these people you're referring to? Turns out she was talking about the group of Chinese people.
Whoa.
And I was, and her husband was like, I think you should calm down, because I looked up directly at them and I started to get this look in my face. Like, if you're going to carry on with this, I'm going to have to get up and say some stuff to you. But she calmed down. And best of all, even though they bought a more expensive ticket than us, somehow they wound up getting on the plane afterwards. And she tried to shove past me, and I just gave her, like, you know, that gentle elbow in the ribs. She's like, excuse me, I need to get by while I'm putting on my bags. I'm like, oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Didn't mean
you
to give
did
you
it.
a dig. Yeah, of course I did.
You physical assaulter, you. We do not condone revenge elbowings here on Remain Indoors. But, you know, normally I would say hug an Asian, obviously 2.5 meters or whatever it is, 2 meters. But perhaps just be aware that this thing is happening in our community, and we can all do something to dampen that down before that becomes a thing. Because we've seen it become a thing with other groups, and I don't think we should add another group to that list. Not the jolliest note to end it on. Hope you've had fun listening to us. Hope you've had fun hanging out with us. We will be doing this at 2 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, bringing on our recurring friends. Alex has been here twice, and I'm sure he'll jump in and talk to us again. Tomorrow, we're being joined again by Dr. Andrew Holding. It was meant to be Kyle, but Kyle, as I said on Missed Apex podcast yesterday, is suffering a bad case of gout. His fine living style and his protein overdosing has finally caught up with him, Matt.
Yeah, I can't believe just the nerve of him to go off and get sick like this when clearly he was supposed to be on shows. It's just like, talk about selfish.
I'd love to ridicule Kyle, but it's a tooth issue. He has a tooth that has twisted, gone up, and has got infected. And I talk to Kyle a lot, and I know how much pain he goes through with his teeth. So he's got he's trying to book himself an emergency operation. So get well, Kyle.
Are you saying that I shouldn't have been mocking him for his pain? Is that what you're trying to imply?
Do you know what? Tooth pain is one of the worst things in the world. It is so horrible.
I hate
it. So I've taken the mick when he's had a problem with his back and his elbow and his cheek, but
and his
mouth,
beard.
but teeth issues is just horrible. So I have full sympathy for my mate.
So I said here that I think it was a couple of days ago, I said I'd never had an adult tooth out, and that was wrong. I generally healthy teeth, but I have had a molar out. And it was one of these where it started off fairly innocuous, and then it just got worse and worse. It had fillings fell out, and then ended up almost starting to hollow out. And the dentist had to. It was an emergency in the end, and it was a military. So it was a sailor, a lady doctor. I don't really know what the title is. It was a lady dentist sailor. But they get really high ranks. Like a dentist in the army.
Did you find them on Craigslist?
No.
What kind of a title is that?
No, well, the thing is, the service personnel will do shifts at normal hospitals as well, so that they're not always in the military environment, and so that they're keeping up with all the military practices. But like a dentist in the army is like a colonel or something. So he is completely your boss. Like, it doesn't matter if you're, platoon sergeant and you go in there. If the dentist tells you to sit the hell down and shut up, you sit the hell down and you shut up. So this was like I don't really know Navy ranks because they don't matter, because all sailors are exactly the same level of scum to me. But I know we've got like 4 sailors in our Patreon Slack group. I think it was like a Commodore, whatever. So she's doing this thing. She's trying to get out. She puts all the injection in, and I don't think she's very good, because she's sitting there, and then after a little while, I'm like, what's she doing? This feels like a faff. I hear her whispering to herself, figure of 8, figure of 8. Figure of 8. Like when like someone goes like righty tighty, lefty loosey, she's going figure of 8, and she's taking forever. And I'm going, are you saying figure of 8? Shut up. Okay, oh, shut up. Figure of 8, figure of 8, figure of 8. And eventually it goes on for so long, I'm like, I can feel it. She's like, what? I said, I can feel it. Like, and she's like, what kind of pain? It's just sharp pain. She's like, oh, it looks like I didn't put enough of the anesthetic and it's worn off. But the tooth is kind of like on its way out. So she gives me a choice. She's like, well, we can stop, re-administer the injections and everything, go through it all again, and we'll try again in like half an hour or whatever. Or we can just go for it. I was like, oh, God, it's already been such an ordeal. I was like, just go for it. So I effectively just had a molar pulled out without any anesthetic, which is lovely. It was just the best day. And, here we go. So here we go. Someone is piping up with senior service. Senior service, buddy. That's what the sailors used to always say. Senior service, fine. I'll yield to the fine sailors in our chat. Matt, this sounds like a good time to get out of it, and we stuck to our strict 45-minute timings again. Well done, us.
Entirely.
Yep.
As long as you're counting in imperial minutes and not metric minutes.
We should go. I was only trying to tell you who was going to be on. So Carl's not on. Dr. Andrew Holding's going to come back on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we're going to speak to some book people. Dakota. His name is Dakota Clement and Nick Alexander. Some book recommendations and some other general chat. So that'll be the first time I will be on a podcast with 3 North Americans. So you'll all have to translate for me. And they're having to get up at 5 a.m. to come and do it as well, which will be cool. I've refused to move the time back to let them lie in a little bit. And then the following week, we're going to get Lauren Thomas, Girl Running Late, fitness lady, to come and talk about some. Not all. We won't all talk fitness, but she does have a good line in motivational talking and keeping yourself fit and motivated and all those things. And she has an annoying amount of energy. Like, she makes me feel bad about myself as a human being because she's so motivated. And we'll be looking for more interesting people as well, because frankly, everybody's got time and no one is saying no when I ask them. So put a wish list of people you'd like me to invite on Remain Indoors podcast. We'll see you soon. Be safe, be kind to each other, and above all, remain indoors. I didn't do all the where to follow us and stuff. At MattPT55 to follow Matt. At Alex Van Geen, VANGEEN. How close are you to 1,000, Alex? Are you getting there? Because when Alex gets to like 990 Twitter followers, we're all going to unfollow him.
I am currently at 859.
Oh, it's getting close. We're getting close to that time where we all hilariously unfollow him and then don't follow him back at all. And you can follow me at Spanners Ready. You can catch our other projects at Missed Apex F1, Missed Apex on all the social media platforms, or you can be my Facebook friend by searching for Richard Reddy. Bye. Good. Matt, we're terrible at sticking to the thing. Look, 45 minutes, that means we can just roll things over forever. But mind you, we've got tons of content we didn't get to as well.
I didn't even get to talk about my pod.
Telling 20-minute stories at the end of the show.
Say again?
I said I was not the one telling 20-minute stories at the end of the show.
It was you.
Oh, well, whatever.
Didn't get to talk about
your PC.
Oh. I'm very disappointed. I have to come back and talk about it next week because it still won't be here yet.
Oh, yes.
I definitely didn't email them this morning and say, I know it's going to be 2.5 weeks before it's ready, but is there any chance it'll be ready sooner? It is my birthday on Saturday.
Oh, you didn't say that.
I haven't had a response. Right, I have to go because I said it'd be an hour and it's been an hour and 5, so I'm going to go. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
We all have to go. And in fact, when Alex goes, that's going to put you in a... Let me fix a thing. Okay, Alex, go. There we go. You can see everyone now, and you can see me with the green screen. So I've just shown you the sausage being made. Sorry, is that ruined the magic? I tell you what we could do, Matt. We should get an IT guy on who, like, look at this. Look how terribly I'm handling this live stream situation. We should get like a PC expert on to talk to us about like PC building and stuff. Because I bet everybody's like putting rigs together at the moment and like sorting out their home entertainment and stuff.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a good idea. If only we knew somebody who knew how to build computers.
Do we? Tell me who it is.
I think probably if you go into the Slack iRacing channel, there's about 9 people.
Yeah. But then you have to find someone who can actually talk about it as well. Because there's some like really clever people who can just do it. And then you ask them about it and they go, oh, no, I don't know. I don't care. I'm sorry. So you can get people like that. We don't. I would rather have someone who knows slightly less, but is confident, like you.
Yes. Well, this is my stock and trade. Like I said on the show yesterday, a remarkable amount of what I talk about was found on the internet within the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, me, I constantly just have like my notepad to hand. So when I love talking about stupid stuff in my life and in my world, especially in such bizarre times. Like everything that happens is a talking point and is something that people can relate to and something that goes off on loads of tangents. So I'm having a great time, and I suggest we come and do this tomorrow, 2 p.m.
Tomorrow sounds good. Yeah, I think I might have. Let me check my busy schedule.
Yep.
Let me see here. What do I have? Yeah.
Actually, I've got a really busy day tomorrow. My calendar is like completely full during the working day. I'm going to be here in front of the screen talking to people or recording things or doing stuff or making things the entire day tomorrow. Stupid apocalypse.
Well, that's because you still have your Saturday thing to do, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is it. And I'm not even getting weekends, really, because, I've now got Saturday nights on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, 8 p.m. It's only temporary until the lockdown is lifted. Very different tone to my lunchtime show where I try and behave myself. On the lunchtime show, I try to be an announcer to the county. Hello. You are tuning into the radio station. If you're trying to get to Sainsbury's, the traffic lights are out. Don't do that. Also, it might be a bit rainy. Now, let's hear from this local man who pulls knots from long-haired cats for you and then donates those to local haberdasheries. That is the kind of thing. But in the nighttime, 8 p.m. till 10, there's nothing like that. You're not expected to be a public service broadcaster, PSAs. You call them. There's none of those PSAs. It's just 2 hours of music and having a chat. And it flew by. Normally, I find it quite hard work on a Saturday lunchtime. But when they say, have a chat and play music, suddenly it was like, it's the end of the show already. Oh, damn. So
let me just bring my notebook full of ideas in.
Yeah.
Did you ever see, you watched Mark Maron's show, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like
Did
Mark
you ever
Maron.
see the one he did with the local radio call-in show, like middle of the night call-in show?
No, I didn't.
Oh, if you can find that episode, go watch it. But essentially, he's driving around, and all of a sudden, he's like, listening to the guy. So, who do we have on the call today? Oh, this is so and so with this problem, and then they would have this problem. They get in a fight, and suddenly he drives to the radio station, and it's all just one guy making everything up. There are no callers at all. And he's like, "You're a genius," and then of course he ruins the guy's life by trying to publicize him, which is
right, okay, brilliant. Right, I want a link to that, and I'll tell you what, put a link to that and drop in some radio stuff because I've got some radio tales to tell as well. Kids, let's go. We can just talk. You hang up. No,
you hang up.
Well, okay, well I'll do that, and
right,
that's ruined. That's not bad. That's the worst shot ever. Now that's just my armpit. Look at that. At least you can tell that I'm sweat free.
At least it's like modestly clean.
Did
you iron that?
Do I risk here? Go. What's on this one? Oh no, I won't do that one. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, yay! And then I go. It's over now. It starts at 2. There we go. That's all right. We successfully got out of that cleanly, I think. Yeah, perfect. No one noticed. That was super smooth.